He doesn't respect me. Who doesn't respect you? How do you know? Well, it's cruel. In what way? It makes me feel sad. How do you choose to feel sad? It means we can't be friends anymore. What does friendship mean to you? How does this mean you can't be friends? Well, if they'd valued our friendship, they wouldn't have done that. What exactly did they do? How do you know they valued your friendship? In what way did they value your friendship? In Neuro Linguistic Programming, we have the magnificent meta model, which is our language-based neurological sat-nav to easily and effectively navigate through the complex, twisted, delusional spaghetti of communication to a rewarding, effective clarity that will have value for all. Meta model, as we discussed in our last video, is our framework for specificity. It's a perfectly formed, simple set of principles designed to uncover linguistic distortions, deletions, and generalizations that are being used every day in some way or another in all communication. You simply can't communicate without using these language patterns in some way. Now, what we're incredibly interested in with metamodal distortions is how are they being used and what are they keeping hidden? Metamodal patterns are often, think more all the time, used unconsciously to obscure the deeper meaning or structure of an experience. In this video, we're going to be looking in isolation at the 5 language patterns that make up distortions. People, and yes, I mean you are very much people also. People will distort linguistically their realities and experiences to best fit with and validate an emotional connection or stimulation to a person or a situation that they very much in the moment believe to be completely and utterly true. Our neurology is specifically designed to make assessments incredibly quickly, in nanoseconds, through linked and associated patterns and experiences, so as to come up with our very own categoric, I know what this is. Once we've decided what's what and what's not, we then set about making it true. Once this assessment is made, nothing will be allowed in that contradicts it. It's like the bouncer managing the door of your mind, and he's called the critical faculty. Only the familiar will be allowed in, the regulars, if you like. So any other concepts that are wearing jeans and trainers or have had too much to drink will be barred. We'll only grab on to additional information that supports and compounds what we already believe to be true. You'll know people, or just simply watch the news, that believe with all of their hearts the most ridiculous and outlandish things. And not even the most basic logic will be allowed into their fantastical world. If you believe it to be true, you must then project it into your reality and give it a tangible form in the physical with your language, thus compounding and maintaining the problem. Now, in training your ear and your mind to notice, identify, and challenge these patterns, you can then be well equipped to control the clarity and understanding within all communication. So today, let's focus on metamodal and the category of distortions. We'll be covering in detail generalizations and deletions in 2 additional videos that we'll be publishing reasonably soon, if they're not already published. If you want to get the value from them, please do like and subscribe to the channel. The 5 language patterns that make up metamodal distortions are mind reads, lost performatives, cause and effect violations, complex equivalencies, and linguistic presuppositions. Now, as I go through these, I'm going to be directly referencing and linking their relevance to the 9 powerful NLP linguistic presuppositions that I have covered in detail across the 10-episode NLP presupposition video series already published that you'll find on the channel. So go check them out. I do strongly advise that you go through these, as they will help make sense of metamodal and also speed up the ability that you have to unconsciously recognize and utilize these powerful language structures, as well as gaining an in-depth understanding as to how they may be negatively impacting and limiting a person's perception of reality. So let's get started. And to kick things off, we have mind reads. The definition of a mind read is to claim to know the thoughts and feelings of another person without any form of direct, tangible, sensory-based evidence to support the claim. This is where mind reads are the sort of metaphoric antichrist to presuppositions of existence. Something either exists in a sensory way or it's a mind read. The slight caveat to that is something can truly exist in the mind of an individual that will seem supported by evidence to them, though that evidence will be horribly weak, skewed, and within it will definitely be some form of key mind reads. Do know that you'll hear mind reads every single day. Again, you can simply switch on the telly, and if there's anyone that's emotionally stimulated and they're being interviewed, you will hear statements that will more than likely be mind reads. So here are some very common examples. She doesn't like me. She's never liked me. I know you're not really interested. He's just trying to make me angry. So what's distorted here? The speaker assumes internal states of another person as if they are factual, without any form of direct verification. Now, direct verification would be the other person actually sitting you down and saying to you, I don't like you. I never have. Oh, and by the way, we also know that on the rare occasions that someone is so direct and honest, it still may not actually be true. The structure of a metamodal mind read challenge question would be, how do you know she doesn't like you? What specifically makes you think I'm not interested? Have they told you that directly? The ultimate purpose of challenging mind reads is to drill down below the surface structure of the statements to recover the source or evidence, if any, behind the assumption. This is to encourage a more accurate awareness for the individual and to give them strategies, where appropriate, as to the what and how ways that they can have more effective and direct communication, rather than risk inaccurately guessing the intentions and/or feelings of another person. Next, we have lost performatives. And the definition of a lost performative is it's a value judgment or opinion stated again as a fact that the individual believes to be true, yet the source of the judgment is missing or unspecified. This can also easily fit into adjective-adverb modifiers from NLP linguistic presuppositions, as judgment requires meaning. Here are some common examples. It's wrong to be selfish. It's rude to talk back. That's just irresponsible. So what's distorted here? They're not saying, and to be fair, we'll probably not actually know the origin of the judgment. Who says so, according to whom, and how do they know? Thus, it's missing, making the statement at risk of appearing to be a societal universal truth. The metamodal challenge questions could be, according to whom, who says so, what's the basis for that judgment? The purpose of challenging this is to trace the authority or origin of the judgment that's being made, which can help people to reevaluate or examine whether it's actually relevant within their own personal values, their preferred societal structure and the accepted norms, or is it a vague, installed and unexamined belief? Next, we have cause and effect violations. The definition of this happening is when people link two unrelated ideas, suggesting that one is causing or has caused the other. A person is justifying an experience by believing it to be negatively affected by an external force. This implies an inevitable outcome from this perceived linked relationship. We also must note here that cause and effect violations is a pure linguistic presupposition. It's number 3 on the list of 9. So here are some common examples. And again, you'll probably hear a cause and effect violation at some point in almost every conversation that you have. Just count how many becauses or the verb to make you hear. You make me feel worthless. If you loved me, you would call me more often. My day has been ruined because of the rain. So let's look at what's distorted here. There is a belief that an external event, experience, or person directly caused an internal state, thus reducing the sense of personal agency. The metamodal challenge questions could be, what exactly am I doing that makes you feel worthless? How often would I have to call to make you feel loved? In what way has the rain ruined your day? The purpose of challenging this structure is to re-establish personal responsibility for your internal responses and open up alternative interpretations of the event. The true formula for empowerment is to move someone from the effect role within an experience, a big boy did it and ran away, to a place where they can gain wisdom from being at cause for at least how they're willing to feel within the experience. If it wasn't you, there is nothing to learn. Therefore, you can have no agency over what you choose to do next. Next up, complex equivalencies. Now, the definition is a complex equivalence is when someone equates two experiences or ideas as being the same or very similar to each other. When this happens, it usually means, see what I did there, that their thinking and flexibility will be being limited along with their options. X probably means X. It very rarely only means Y. Note also that a complex equivalence is a pure linguistic presupposition. It's number 4 of the list of 9. Here's some examples. He didn't even acknowledge me. That means he definitely hates me. She's always late, which means she doesn't respect me. I didn't get the job, therefore I'm a failure. So what's distorted here, as if we didn't already know? The person is making an unconscious, automatic, rigid connection to the two stated things being equal to each other. There will be no presence of logic. They really will need to bypass the critical faculty and suspend all disbelief to manage to create and maintain this link. The metamodal challenge questions for this might be, how does him failing to acknowledge you mean he hates you? How is her timekeeping related to respect? What job was it? How many other applicants were there? How qualified were you? Now, the purpose of challenging this is to break the illogical, rigid association with specificity, so as to encourage alternative perspectives, increasing emotional and cognitive flexibility. Could there be another meaning? Now, I can guarantee you, when investigated well, there'll probably be at least 20 other meanings. And finally, as far as metamodal distortions go, we have all 9 linguistic presuppositions. Talk about belt and braces. So here's the definition. Presuppositions are vague, unstated, or not clearly defined assumptions. As you will already know if you've gone through my previous 10 video series on NLP linguistic presuppositions, they are our key to knowing what's real and what's not. These are 9 language structures that help us make the intangible and etheric seem physical and real. Here are some common examples. Why did you betray me? Now, this presupposes betrayal has actually occurred. What made you stop trying? This presupposes the person gave up. How long have you been angry with me? This presupposes the person is actually angry. Let's look in more detail as to what's distorted here. The speaker has embedded assumptions that there is more than likely absolutely no evidence to support. They have slipped it into the structure of a question or a statement, thus bypassing critical thinking, installing and probably gaining acceptance of the existence of this negative concept unconsciously. People may well argue against it, which almost validates it, helping to compound that it is in some way a legitimate thing. This is very much part of a gaslighter's toolkit. Metamodal challenge questions could be, what makes you think I betrayed you? Betrayed you in what way? How do you know I've stopped trying? What if I haven't stopped trying? What makes you think I'm angry? Who says I'm angry? The purpose of challenging these dangerous assumptions is to bring hidden unconscious information into awareness and determine whether logically it's valid or not. This opens the door for clearer, more honest thinking and communication. Metamodal distortions in language are not necessarily inherently harmful, though they can be incredibly limiting. We'll learn to utilize them in later videos in a positive way when we get to Milton model, as they are a very powerful and useful part of natural communication. So if that's going to be of interest to you, do like and subscribe to the channel so that you get access upon their release. Metamodal distortions can keep people stuck. They can limit understanding, reinforce unhelpful beliefs, and cause conflict. Studying and getting good at noticing NLP metamodal distortions gives you a powerful and commanding way to detect, challenge, and break down this distorted thinking, thus promoting clarity, better self-awareness, increased choices, and overall empowerment, in my opinion. Whether in coaching, therapy, leadership, or everyday conversational influence, recognizing these distortion patterns helps us move from reactivity to responsiveness, and from assumptions to insight. Now, if you want to perfect this skill, the easy way is there are only 5 language patterns after all, so just take one. The one that resonates the most for you, or the one you initially see as having the most value, and listen for it in every conversation, every day. Start to notice it and start to challenge it with what and how questions. Do it for a week, by which time you'll have started to notice it automatically. When this happens, then simply pick the next language pattern and do the same for another week. If you follow my advice, you will get very good at this in just 5 weeks. If you choose to do nothing, however, you may still have the knowledge, but you're unlikely to have developed any skill with it. Time passes, and it's up to you to ensure you get value from it. Next up, we're going to go through metamodal generalizations. So let's continue to learn, evolve, and create positive change together.